Hey guys, how's it going? This is Mike from M&R Automotive. Today we have a brand new Hummer EV and we're installing the M&R hood mount kit. It offers amber DRL as well as powerful white light. We're going to remove one bolt, which is here, and this is the bolt that holds this black cover on the vehicle. This is the only bolt that it has, everything else is clips. So everything else is clips, and if you could take a look here, I like to grab it by the end here and just pull it up. And we actually probably don't even have to remove these clips because all of our mounting is going to be off of this bolt. Alright, so from here we're just going to have to remove this one bolt. It's a 10mm. Now that we removed the bolt, we're going to go ahead and install the M&R bracket, going through the same bolt and reinstalling it. Notice on the hood mount bracket, there's an up arrow to show you which direction goes to the light and which one goes to the fender of the vehicle. And notice the direction, the one that goes to the fender of the vehicle, it actually is a little bit more tapered. But the arrow should tell you the orientation of the bracket. So we're going to go ahead and slide the bracket and reinstall the same bolt. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and clip this after because we're still gonna have to feed the wire for the pod itself through this cowl opening, and then we'll put all the clips back on. Let's go ahead and mount the light itself. Each pod has a cradle, which we're gonna go ahead and install first, and the cradle is held on 2 bolts on each side. If you take a look at here, there's 2 big ones and 2 small ones. The larger bolts, they go in the middle. The smaller bolts are the ones that go behind it, and they're used for adjusting the light up and down. We're going to make sure they're just snug, so that way they don't flop around, but we're going to do all the tie downs later on when the light is on the vehicle, so that way we can aim it properly. So now I'm going to go ahead and mount the lights to the brackets that we've installed. Now let's do the passenger side. Awesome. So now let's go ahead and do the wiring. Now that you have the mounts and the lights installed, let's talk about the wiring. The wiring harness that M&R provides only bridges the lights between themselves and brings it to one power source. So what we're going to do, I want to stretch it out to show you how we're going to run the wiring. In the middle it has a Y connection. So this Y connection is going to go on the passenger side. One of the ends is going to string across to the driver's side pods, and then the other end of the wiring harness is going to go into a power distribution box. So the wiring harness that M&R provides bridges the lights together to bring up to one power source. If your Hummer EV is equipped with auxiliary switch module that you do have to purchase extra through GM for $350, feel free to connect it straight into that module. We actually went a different route. It's a wireless remote control panel. It offers 8 different switches, costs about $100 on Amazon, and will allow us to control all of our accessories with a keypad wirelessly, and we don't have to drag anything inside the cab. So the company that sells this on Amazon is Joint World. I'm gonna go ahead and put the link in the description below. M&R does not sell this power distribution box, so you're gonna have to go and purchase it through them. Let's go see what's inside. So there's an instruction manual, there's stickers, gives you 8 different buttons for 8 different accessories. The actual power distribution box, generic L bracket, has a power cable with an 80 amp fuse. One side's gonna go to the battery, and the second side is gonna connect to the box itself. And same thing with a ground cable. One of it is gonna go onto the battery or anywhere on the chassis of the vehicle, and the second one's going to go to the power distribution box. So let's go ahead and take this apart, the distribution box, so that way you can see where the circuits are and how we're going to connect it. So we're just removing the 4 Phillips screws. So if you could tell, it's actually really good quality. Everything is epoxied, all the electronics is internally. So all you have to do is connect the positive here, connect the ground here, and here we have all the circuits with all the amp rating. Okay, so let me show you where I'm going to install the distribution box and how I'm going to hook it up. So first off, we're going to go ahead and remove the plastic cover to get access to the battery. Also note, we're not going to the high voltage battery on the vehicle, we're just going to a 12 volt. So I'm going to show you where it is and how we can connect to it. So we're going to go ahead and remove the cover. All you have to do is twist the tabs and take this off. Alright, next thing we're going to do, let's go ahead and connect the distribution box. We're going to take the cover off. So there's 2 tabs and lift them up. And now we have access to the battery. We're going to go ahead and loosen the positive terminal. I'm going to grab my wiring. So what I like to do when I do my installs, I actually like to trip this fuse and disconnect it so that way I don't get electrocuted. So when I'm connecting things on the positive battery, I don't want to short anything. So you take off the protective cover and you're going to go ahead and disengage it. If everything's in line, there's an 80 amp fuse. If it's in line, that means there's power going through it. If you press this button, it takes it away, and that way there's a block here, so you're not going to get shocked here on this end. So now we're going to go ahead and tighten this terminal back. Let's go ahead and route this wire through here, so that way we can put the cover back on. So now we can go ahead and close this cover. So now we have the positive torque distribution box. We're going to do the same thing for the ground. So I'm going to use this for the ground. It's a 10 millimeter. Go ahead and slide the black part of the terminal right underneath it. And we're going to tighten it. Okay, so now all of our wiring is done on the vehicle itself. Keep in mind this is still disconnected. So let's go ahead and connect these contacts to the power distribution box. So here's our power distribution box. The top terminal is the power. So we're going to go ahead and feed the power cable. We're going to go under. There's a little slot here. There's going to be a cover here, so you have to go under. We're going to use a screwdriver to loosen this contact. And we're going to slide this terminal right underneath it. So now that we did the power, we're going to do exactly the same thing with the ground. So the next thing I want to do, if you read the instructions, you have to pair the remote. Key number 5, you got to press it 5 times, and then you'll see the buttons start flickering on the panel itself. That's how you know you paired the remote to the module. So I think we're ready to test it. I'm going to go ahead and flip my fuse to the positive, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and press this 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you see this blinking, that means it's pairing. The wiring harness that we just described provides 2 power sources, so you're going to use the red and the white as the 2 functions. One for amber DRL and one for powerful white light. And then it also comes with 2 grounding straps, one for each side. Each pod comes with a red, black, and yellow wire. The red is the power for the white light, the black is the ground, and the yellow is the amber DRL. So right now we're going to choose which power wire we want to use for the amber DRL and which power wire we want to use for the white light. So I like to match things up, so we're going to go red to red. And we're going to go ahead and use the white color of the wire strand for the DRL feature. The black wire is going to be the ground. And now we can go ahead I'm going to pass the wires underneath this cover and we can click it in place. So our wiring is going to come out on this side. Clip everything in and just pull on the wiring so that way it comes out inside the engine bay. So as we mentioned, we're going to do the same thing on the driver's side, and that's why I extended this wire here. So the patterns that we're going to use, we did red to red, we're going to do yellow to white, and that's for the DRL. And we're going to use a supplied grounding strap for the ground, and that's black to black. Okay, let's go ahead and pass all the wiring. think I passed it underneath this trim. And now the only thing we have to do is install the wiring straps and give some power to the lights through our power distribution box. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and use this bolt, which is right next to the one we removed before. And we're gonna use that for the ground. I'm gonna feed it through the bolt and reinsert it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall this bolt too that we've taken out initially. Okay, so now we're pretty much done on the driver's side. For some reason on the passenger side, I can't get to this bolt as easy as I did on the driver's side. I think there's actually a variation of the mold, so I can use a different grounding point. I'm gonna go ahead and use the side bolt here. Okay, so we're done with both of the grounds. So the last thing we have to do is connect this to the power distribution box. And that will be the two power cables, right? The red is gonna be the white light, which we determined, and the white is gonna be the amber DRL. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to take off these crimp connectors because we don't need it since we're going to be using a power distribution box. This is an M&R generic wiring harness just to bridge the lights together. So for this purpose, we're going to go ahead and strip it. Let's go ahead and put the white feature of the lights on a 10 amp fuse and the amber DRL on the second 5 that we have. So I'm just going to loosen the positive terminals because the lights are already grounded to the chassis. So here we already have a dual function light bar. That's why this 5 amp and this 10 amp, it's already used. So we're going to use switch number 1 and then switch number 4. So the red wire is going to go to the 10 amp fuse because it's the white function of the light. And the white power wire is going to go to the 5 amp fuse, which is the DRL. So now we used a total of 2 circuits for the hood mount kit, and before we had 2 circuits for a dual function light bar. Okay, let's test it to make sure everything is working properly before we button everything up and put the cover back on. So notice that we haven't really tied it down yet. I wanted to do all the wiring so that way I knew how much slack I needed. So now I'm going to go ahead and test them. Switch number 1 is going to power the white light, and you can aim them either straight or outward, whatever your preference is. And then switch number 4 is the amber DRL function. Looks like everything's working properly. I'm going to go ahead and tighten these bolts to secure these lights in place, and I'm going to clean up all the wiring with zip ties and shrink connectors. Once you have them angled properly, let's go ahead and tighten the large bolts. So that way the light stays secured. The last thing I want to show you guys is that the M&R kit does not interfere with the windshield wipers. So as you can tell, it's not touching, interfering, and everything is working perfectly. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to tune in for a night output video.